Welcome to another tutorial that will be walking through a programming exam solution for the Warships code. That's the 2016 Paper 1 AQA Computer Science exam. For this one we're going to look at number 3 in my top 5, which is the idea that you produce some code that would state that you have sunk a particular ship. Now this is a big enough problem. This is definitely a 10 or 14 marker. That actually for this particular tutorial I'm just going to give overview and hints, and then I'll do smaller offshoot ones that include the code. So if you need a full list of my tutorials, probably the best thing to do is just see the playlist, and on there I've also given a link to a Google Docs document that has got all of the problems, descriptions, hints and links to my paste bin for solutions. Just because I'm saying it's going to happen doesn't make it so. The Computing Wikibook is full of much more ideas, and crucially it gives solutions to other languages other than VB.NET. So, in battleships, one of the rules is you need to declare if a ship's been sunk. The code doesn't do that. The way it's been set up is, I think, asking for that functionality to be included. I can see that there's definitely nice ways of doing it. Really, this is more than one problem. But let's have a look at it. Certainly problem 1 is that we need to know if a ship's been sunk. Seems fairly self-evident, and that can just be ultimately a boolean, yes or no, the ship has been sunk. And crucially, I can only see 2 ways of doing it. There are others, but these are the 2 obvious ways. One, you simply search the whole board and say, is there any more ship positions left for the one I've just hit? So I'm doing a whole search of the whole array, and if I've just hit an aircraft carrier, that's an A. I just loop through. If there's any more A's, then I haven't sunk it. If there are no more A's, I have sunk it. Job done. The second way that I think is definitely worth you practicing is that we keep a tally of how many times a particular ship has been hit. So for the aircraft carrier, each time I hit it, that gets incremented, and when I've hit it 5 times, I've sunk the aircraft carrier. Now the only problem is, in the board we don't store the ship names. What we store is the first letter of the ship. So ultimately we don't want to say you've just sunk my A, we want to be able to name the ship. So we do need to be able to, using the character in the board, return the ship name. So let's quickly go over those basic top-level algorithms. If we're doing the search board method for checking if the ship is sunk, we only ever want to check if the ship's been hit. We need to store the character of the location that we've just hit, because that's going to get turned into an H. Then we check every location, every element of the array, and if there isn't a single element that contains that char, then the ship has been sunk. Now I'm saying check the whole board. We don't actually need to check the whole board. We only need to check the row and column of the ship that's been hit, because we can't have diagonal ships. I'm 99% sure we won't have diagonal ships. I know that's one that's been suggested, but I'm pretty sure that's happened. We also can probably stop checking if we find a ship, but it's not the end of the world to check 100 elements of an array. It's it's still a known size. Let's have a think about doing it the other way, with an addition to the structure. So we need to add, for the sake of argument, number of hits to a structure. Every time we hit a particular every time we hit a particular ship, let's say the aircraft carrier A, we need to go to the array of ships, and we need to do ships.number of hits, and we need to increment that by 1. And then after we've done that, we can check, is the number of hits equal to the ship size? If it is, that ship's sunk. Job's a good one. Now the last little bit will return the ship's name so we can actually display you have sunk my battleship, or you have sunk my patrol boat, or whatever it happens to be. I am 90% sure, I've said 80 here, I've backtracked. I'm really sort of quite confident that this will come up in some way. The idea that we do a little search through all of the ships in the array, and we search and check the first character, so that's the 0th element of the string, and we see if it equals a particular letter, like A, and if it does, we'll return the ship at the name of the ship. That's quite a nice little way of working that I'll be surprised if they don't sneak it in there somewhere. So it could be a much simpler problem. This could be stuck in with, if you hit a ship, it returns and says you've hit a battleship or whatever. That would be a simpler problem. So that's me waffling through the problem. You'll see that the next video will be producing code for the search board method, with a second one saying how to return the name of a ship, and then I'll also do the addition of a structure. And again, it is worth doing. I actually think if this problem comes up, it'll be solved by the search board method, but it's worth playing around with the structure because they could ask you to add something else to the structure. Can't quite think what it would be, so it's worth you knowing how to do that. I really hope that you've found this tutorial useful, and please leave comments, ask questions. Even if you're not one of my students, I tend to answer comments that have been placed there. Hope you found this useful. Watch out for the rest of my videos.